Everybody, welcome back to another episode of FSI DFS Fancy NASCAR Picks. I'm your host, MyGuru31. Before we get going, just a couple housekeeping things. Some of you have requested NFL videos. Not sure if we're going to be able to do those or not, but if we were, put in the comments below some of the things that you'd be looking for in the breakdown. So if the team does decide to do them, we would kind of see what would be most important to our viewers. And the other thing too, speaking of viewership, is we appreciate the thousands of views that we get on these cup videos every single week, but it seems like more than half of you aren't subscribed to the channel. And just case in point is yesterday, Xfinity, I was going to do a speculation one, and I didn't because I realized that I had a small window to get the actual information done and broken down in a video form. And I had Justin Allgaier on the cover. He won the race and the content was pretty good. So only a couple hundred people watched it. And I just hope that if you're looking for the videos and you don't see them, if you're subscribed to our channel, it's easier to find our playlist, and you can set notifications too that let you know when our videos come out. So let's get into today's race. I'll go over the 3 rules of super speedways, used to be called restrictor plate races. So it'd be Talladega, Daytona, and now Atlanta to a degree also. Is first of all, you want to stack the back. You want to look at place differential over trying to get dominator points, because the lead changes so frequently, usually in most of these races, that is spread out throughout the race. There's and in these races too, it's a high variance sport to begin with, and it just makes it even more unpredictable. So you want to really manage your bankroll, play a little bit to have some skin in the game, but don't go super crazy, because it is sometimes a scratch off lottery ticket for the winning GPP, and it's really hard to play cash games in this too, just because there's so much uncertainty with the big wrecks and stuff that could potentially happen. And the final thing is don't try to use all your salary, because if you build a line of the guys in the back and you really like it, and you leave 10 or 20, 30, I don't think you could go 30, but $10,000 or $20,000 on the table, don't try to pay up for other drivers just because you can. Just set your lineup and go with it. And that's the best way to approach this. So this is the last race before the playoff. There are 17 drivers that could potentially get in. So the ones that are in the best position is Bubba Wallace is currently above the cut line and Ty Gibbs is below it. So those are the 2 that could logistically point their way in. But there's 15 other drivers that potentially, if they win the race, could get the automatic qualifying bid. If you look at them, they're in a shade of green. The ones that I put in the brighter shade of green, almost like the lime green, are ones that I think have the best shot, just with that they're going to have teammate help. And if you want to put some bets down, they would probably be the better ones. The ones in the kind of army green there are ones that could still get in, but there's some factors that I think could potentially stop them, or I think the ones that are in like the lime green have a better chance. So we'll get to that as we go through the breakdown here. You'll see a lot of coloring with the cars and the manufacturers, or the teams and the manufacturers. Also, this is a team sport usually at these tracks, and Chevrolets work together, Toyotas work together, Fords work together. So team stacks aren't out of the question either to sometimes work, because we've seen that be successful. And different teams have tech alliances, so that's the other coloring there. So Fords could be broken down into like 2 subdivisions. Usually the Roush and Stewart Haas ones will work together. They all work together, but like even more so, Front Row and Rick Ware have worked together a little bit, and the Penske ones and Wood Brothers usually hang together. Same thing with like Chevys. You have like the ones that have like the Childress, Tekken, and engines and stuff, which is Colleague, Richard Childress Racing, Trackhouse, Beard, Legacy. And then you have like the Hendricks ones, which is JD, Doherty, Hendricks, Spire, etc. So some of those guys will work together and push each other and try to line up together. So if you're stacking is another way to go in GPPs in this, to try to capitalize on a strong team working together and all finishing well. So usually the rule here is you want to start 20th on back. For your cash guys, there are a couple of exceptions that I really like here. So let's just start at the top and break it down. So the first 3 need to make it into the playoffs: Briscoe, Almirola, Burton. And the only data points that I have here, I don't have a full breakdown, is that where it says tracks, that is their average finish on super speedways. And then I think, sorry, it's not here, but this should be DNF rates. This final column where it says CD here, then oh, there it is now. Shut up. Okay. So DNF rate for the teams. Maybe if I shorten this a little bit, I'll show. Okay, there we go. So I think this is super important because this is their did not finish race percentage, and the higher means that the more accidents that they've gotten in. So that's something I really focus on here. So as you can see, Almirola hasn't been bad. 23 races here. He has a win, 4 top 10. So I think if you're playing on FanDuel, Almirola is in play here. He's probably going to be aggressive and go out and try to lead and stay out front. And that's one of the things that we saw with Allgaier is when he finally got out front there, everybody's wrecking in back of him, and that kind of helps propel him to the win. And the other thing, like I said, it was a team sport, is Parker Kligerman probably had a stronger car, and he was looking for somebody to work with him. And the Childress guys were trying to work together. So that didn't help him. And then towards the end of the race, he got lined up behind Cole Custer, and he kept on backing up to try to get Cole Custer to give him a push. But then he realized that Cole Custer's teammate is one of the guys that's on the bubble for the playoffs in Riley Herbst with him. So he wasn't going to get any help there because, being a good teammate, the teammate didn't want to help the guy win and lock up a spot and knock his teammate out of the playoffs. So that does happen. It's not illegal or anything, as long as they're not trying to impede the racing or sandbag or cheat or anything. Just not pushing a car in a super speedway. There's nothing wrong with that or illegal. So just have to watch that. So you have 2 Stewart-Haas cars up here and 3 Fords that'll probably work together, but they'll probably be too aggressive, and I just think bad things could potentially happen to them. Bubba Wallace and Ty Gibbs, it's ironic that they're 4th and 5th here because they are fighting each other, but my guess is that they will work together with the rest of the Toyotas who are all in the playoffs to try to get one of these 2 guys in. So Bubba Wallace, I think, would be your best bet. He's going to be the priority. Oh, no, actually, Gibbs would probably be the priority here, but he hasn't done well on these tracks. He has finished 25th overall. Even in the 2 races, he has finished both of them, but I don't know if he can stay up here. It's hard for rookies with not a ton of experience on plate tracks, or not plate tracks on super speedways, but he did have some Xfinity, but he wasn't in that series that long. So and these guys have years and years of experience, so he's at a disadvantage there. So I think they're going to try to prioritize Ty, but if something happens to him, then Bubba's definitely the priority. So if you're betting, I think Bubba has a really good chance to win this race here. But these guys aren't really top DFS plays. On DK and FanDuel, you're looking for a finishing position, so potentially, and I like Bubba Wallace maybe in a GPP, and that's what I said yesterday in the race. I said, if you want to take 5-place differential drivers and swing for the fences in GPP and try to pick the one guy that's going to win it, I think Bubba's one of those guys. Herbst, I'm not interested in. He's coming up from Xfinity just to get some experience. Front row, it's a decent car and everything. They're starting way too far forward. There's no way he can probably score enough points to be in the optimal lineup. Kyle Larson, 50% DNF rate, really has struggled in this new car and plate races. And just really I keep on calling plate races on super speedways, but I think that he is not one that I'm looking for here. Blaney definitely is one that likes to get up there. Penske cars work together, usually have strong cars. I think the priority is going to be to try to get Austin Cindric to win here. So they're going to work together. Also, Harrison Burton is part of that group too, but I don't think that they might let him work with them, which it helps Burton and helps the 4 of them overall. But I think the priority is going to be Cindric in that one. So I like Blaney here. Ryan Preece is the fade. There's only one Stewart-Haas driver that's in the playoffs, and that's Harvick on points. So there's going to be Briscoe, Almirola, and Preece. If the team all works together, then all 3 of them are going to be battling it out, and it just could cause such a disaster. That's why Harvick, if you're working with him, he tends to try to get up there and lead laps and stay up front and work with the Fords. which is fine. So I think he's in a play in GPP if you think that he's going to be the winner at the last race at Daytona. But some people think that he's kind of just looking towards his broadcasting career, going to try to see what he can do in playoffs. But if not, just enjoy these last few races and not be super aggressive and try to win a ton. But who knows? We'll have to see how the race plays out. So it's a GPP. Busher and Keselowski, I think, are almost the same play here, and I'd play them together in a stack with the rest with other Fords more than I'd play them as one-offs. They like to get up there and try to lead races and set the pace and stuff, and we'll probably be in a line with maybe the other Fords here with Penske. So that's the way I'd play him here as GPP. I don't think I'd take them as one-offs or put them in my cash lines. Truex and Bell I'll talk about here. Same thing. GPPs, I think if you're looking at correlation, both of them are decent on plate tracks. Bell's a pit crew. If they set him behind, it's not going to be as bad on this race, because if he has to go to the back of the field or lose his spots on pit row, it's so easy to make it up on this track as long as you're not multiple laps down. So I think I play Bell and Truex again together with the rest of the Gibbs or Toyota ones. I wouldn't play them in my cash line, and I don't really like them as one-offs either. Joey Logano and Cindric, I've talked about, with Blaney here. I think that Logano does better in clean air, but he's got to win at Daytona. Cindric's got to win in this car in the first race at Daytona as a rookie. I really like Cindric as my first cash play here, because I really think he's got a good chance to win. I really like this team that's going to work with him and probably try to push him to get him to the playoffs. It's probably Penske had a meeting with the team and say, hey, here's the priority. You two, you're already in the playoffs. Let's get the third car in, and then, all bets are off after that. But if you look at Cindric, he's got a really decent average finish at these tracks. I know 4 races, he's finished 2 of them, but the 2 he's finished in the top 10. So definitely like that for him. AJ Allmendinger, I think he's one that usually he's got to win to make it to the playoffs. Colleague cars should work together, but Haley also is in the same situation. And Chandler Smith is a good driver also, and could help him, but I just don't know if they would be able, if they're in like a pack with like the Childress cars and stuff, if they'd be able to be the ones that would get the winner out of it. I think, it would probably like fall to like Austin Dillon in that scenario, with Hill and Kyle Busch helping out there to try to get him into the playoffs. Again, this could turn into a real team sport here. So Allmendinger, I think, of low ownership. I think you can still play him in cash. 20 races here, and he only has a 10% DNF rate. That is outstanding. That means that he really understands how to 7 races in the top 10 out of those 20. So that's definitely a really good statistic there. So knows what he's doing, keeps it clean, is able to stay out of trouble. So hopefully he'll be able to today and be a decent play. I know he's starting a little bit more far forward than we'd like to say, but just the safety of him, I think he has a really good floor for cash. Kyle Busch GPP, because he could go out there and absolutely win this race, or he could wreck and be out and very early. But he does have 1 win here, 11 top 10s. So he's definitely, and only a 33% DNF rate. So I like him. I don't think he's going to try to win the race again. I think if it comes down to, he's going to try to work with Dillon to get him across to his teammate in, and I think he'll work with him also. And I think that's a formidable 3. So definitely a GPP. I like that stack. Denny Hamlin, he's also could win this. He had a streak kind of before the new car where he did really well and was outstanding at Daytona and almost untouchable. 3 wins, 11 top 5s, 12 top 10s, led a lot of laps, a 14% DNF rate, which was one of the lowest ones in the field here, definitely in the top 5 with guys that have more than 5 races. So really like Denny here. I think you can play him in cash. I know he's right above the magic line of 20, but definitely somebody that can get up front and work. And again, he probably won't win the race, but there's enough place differential if he finishes in top 3, trying to help Bubba or Ty win the race, then I think that definitely could pay off. Tyler Reddick, same thing. I think he's GPP here. I think he'd just be in the mix with trying to help Bubba, his teammate, or if he's told to work with Gibbs to try to get them into the playoffs. Decent plate racer. Could have probably won last year, but he decided to push Austin Dillon to help him out there instead and be a good teammate. So I think I see him doing it again. There's no need for him to win. He's already in the playoffs. So GPP, I think he fits well in the Toyota stack. Austin Dillon, like I said, I've been talking about him here. I think Hill and maybe the Colleague cars and Kyle Busch work with him. He has won 2 Daytona races. He's got 20% DNF rate. His average finish is 14th. He's starting 21st, so that's at least 7 place differential points. I like him in cash. Daniel Suarez, I think, will be popular. Like, he has run well in super speedways, but he's got a 75% DNF rate here. And I think Chastain's going to help him, but Chastain's not the greatest pusher. I've seen him push people into the traffic and into the fence. So GPP for me. Chase Elliott, I think he's be the highest on driver. There's the conspiracy that NASCAR is going to do everything possible to help their golden child, as some call him, make it into the playoffs. I think he's a good plate racer. Doesn't have a win here, but 4 top 10s, 40% DNF rate. The only thing that I really, again, I think Chase Elliott, if you do believe in the conspiracy theory, has a great shot to winning this race. He'll get up there, he'll be aggressive. He'll should at least get place differential. And if he can keep it, even if he doesn't win, if he makes it up there, I think he definitely, scores you enough points to potentially be in the optimal lineup. The only thing that concerns me is if we're talking about working with a team, Alex Bowman also is out of the playoffs and needs to get in. And the 2 other guys that would be working with him in the Hendricks stable are terrible at these super speedway tracks with a 50% DNF rate and a 63% DNF rate. So there are other Chevys that potentially could work with him also, but they also need to try to win to make it to the playoffs. So we'll have to see. Like, Josh Berry could be up there. He's spent some time in Hendricks, even though he's with like Legacy, but maybe Stenhouse and some of the Spire cars and LaJoy and stuff, but we'll just have to see how that plays out. But I think he's fine in cash. Eric Jones at GPP. I know he has a win here. I know he could definitely win this, but again, I think there's so many other factors and so other positive factors for other teams. And just his 53% DNF rate, I think, kind of scares me a little bit. He's a GPP, but he's a strong, solid GPP. It's borderline cash GPP, not like borderline fade GPP. Ross Chastain, I think you can play him in cash. Again, 50% DNF rate, but he's gotten better recently. His DNFs were earlier, and I think he's figured it out a little bit more with this new car. Austin Hill had a great race last night, tried to make a move and got turned and wrecked. Had a dominant car most of the race, understands plate racing. He's won multiple times at Daytona, twice. Did well in the Truck Series. Average finish is 12.8 in Xfinity, 25% DNF rate, which is not bad at all. So I think I'll playing some Austin Hill, especially in some of my Chevy stacks. I think he's got a lot of upside here. Wish he was starting a little bit further back, but I think he's one that's aggressive and sees the openings very well. And I think he'll definitely be in the Cup Series soon enough. Maybe he'll take over for Kyle when he retires, but I think definitely a lot of good things for Austin Hill on the horizon. Byron, he's probably your ultimate GPP here. I think he'll have high ownership just based on who he is and because he's a good driver that's like back in the field and has the potential for place differential. But like I said, his average finish on this track is 26.2. I mean, he does have a win. He does have 2 top 10s, but he's got 63% DNF rate. His average finish is 20th. So definitely somebody I would play in GPP, but I really can't do him in cash. I don't feel he has the safety of enough floor. Haley, really good plate driver. Or sorry, plate. I keep on saying old habits die hard. Super Speedway. 1 win, 2 top 10s here, 33% DNF rate. Average finish on these types of tracks is 16.5. Average finish at Daytona is 17. That's at least 10 place differential points. And I think definitely trying to get up there and be aggressive to try to win to get into the playoffs. I know people have talked about like he's taken a step back since he's been leaving the team and stuff, but I think this you have to be a team in this sport here. And I think if colleague senses he's got a shot, I think Allmendinger is definitely would be the priority to make it into the playoffs. I think with the different types of races in the playoffs, AMBJ Allmendinger has the chance to go further, but I think Haley is definitely in play here in cash. Josh Berry, same thing, playing with house money up here just to get experience, but he's been decent in plate tracks, so I think I'd take a shot on him in cash. Ty Dillon's GPP, Spire card. He's starting a little bit too far forward, almost a 50% DNF rate, but his average finish is 17th on super speedways and 21st. So I don't know. I think he's in the mix here, but it don't really excite me. These next two do. Bowman and Stenhouse are going to be where I lock in my primes here. As I said, I look at DNF rate. Alex Bowman, 14 races here, a 7% DNF rate. That is outstanding. 4 top 10s, average finish around 16th if you average the two between the track and the overall super speedway one. So that's at least 15 place differential points. Definitely think that he can get up towards the front here. Is fighting to try to win to get in. Really like him. It's Ricky Stenhouse. I know he's been volatile. He's been better this year. He's got 2 wins this season. He's got 2 wins at this track, 4 top 10s, and only a 22% DNF rate. So Ricky Stenhouse, as volatile as he's been in the past, is decent on these. He'll get up front. He usually is tries to get up there, even doesn't mind leading this race. And sometimes if they wreck behind him, that keeps him out of trouble. So, and he's definitely knows how to put himself in position to win at the end, as we've seen a couple times already. So love Ricky Stenhouse, love Alex Bowman, and I'm starting my cash lineups there. Again, cash is kind of iffy here with the how much variance there is in this race, but I definitely like those two. Yaley, I think you can play in cash again. I'm looking at the DNF rate, it's 20%. Almost to the top 20 and average in super speedways. Daytona specifically 27th. That still moves you up about 5 points here, so I like him there. Brendan Poole and Todd Gillian. I think people are going to overplay Todd Gillian just because they think he's a good plate racer and everything, but he's wrecked every single race that he has tried to race at Daytona. And Poole has not had a good DNF rate either. So they're both GPPs for me, but starting this far back, I think they're definitely in play for cash if you want to, but I don't think they have the safety that I'm looking for my lineups. Chandler Smith, like him, he's raced at Daytona here in the 500, finished 12th. Or maybe one race, he had one race here and he finished 12th. So he does good in the races in Xfinity here. I know he got in a little trouble last night, but I think he'll be perfectly fine. Colleague's a good program for these super speedways, and he's got some good teammates and Chevy to work with. So really like him, think he goes forward. Corey LaJoie, same thing. We see him get up there. Had some really good runs at Atlanta. It's the type of racing that Corey LaJoie thrives at, and Corey LaJoie starting third from last. So this is the sweet spot for him. I debated him or Stenhouse and Justin Haley. Those were the 3 that I debated for the third prime. So I think all of them are definitely in play, but I like Stenhouse DNF rate. I could not turn that down. Speaking of DNF rates, BJ McLeod, 12% in 8 races, 2 top 10s. This guy just stays out of everybody's way. And as people crash, he avoids it and just keeps on climbing and climbing and climbing. So love the safety here. Love the safety of him starting 38th, even if he wrecks out early, it's perfectly fine. I think there's a ton of upside with his position and what we've seen him do. And then Michael McDowell's got to be the ultimate lock here, starting dead last. He's got a win here. 8 top 10s. He's as good at the road courses. He's just as good on super speedways here. Less than a 30% DNF rate in 24 races. So he's got a lot of experience here. He's got a good team, and don't know what happened in practice there wasn't practice in qualifying, but it doesn't really matter. He should be able to move up the field. I don't believe he's going to finish last. There's a lot of place differential here, a lot of opportunity, and he could win this race. So why not throw like $1 on a bet for that, with and we saw some crazy parlays last year when the Daytona race with the rain and wrecks. And I think only like 17 cars finished that race. So lots of crazy things can happen. I think most of the sports books have banned you from being able to stack all the guys in the back and win millions of dollars on like a $10 bet like the guy did last year. But look it up. There might be some opportunities to play some of these guys. So like I said, the lime green ones are the ones that I like the most, but other potential winners, like I said, could be McDowell, Stenhouse again, um, Denny Hamlin, Kyle Busch, uh, and Bubba Wallace, I think, are the ones that I really like that aren't that color. So a lot to break down here. So if you have questions, put them in the chat below. Hit me up at Mega1 on Twitter. Just a reminder that there is a truck race on Sunday. So everything's kind of jumbled up. So we'll try to have a video out for that for you. So if these videos help you, you've already helped us by watching them. But if you want to go the extra mile, you can like, subscribe to our channel, and share with your friends. And if you want more information on FSI DFS, you can go to the description of the video, and there's a link to the website to sign up for our packages. We're still offering a discount on NFL football. And again, if you have any thoughts on what you'd like NFL videos, if the team are to make them, would look like, then please put them in the comments also. So I hope everybody has a good weekend. Good luck in your contest. Remember, play light. Don't play all your salary. Stack the back here. And I'll see you next time.